One of the most common questions we get is, how do biometrics and eye tracking and the things that Innerscope and other companies do, how do they relate to traditional measures? Are they a replacement? Are they a complement? Let's talk a little bit about that, and maybe I'll start with Maria just to mix it up a little bit.
With Intuit, it's definitely been a complement to what we're doing. I wouldn't say it's replacing anything, and as a matter of fact, we use biometrics with focus groups. We use a combination of the two. And the reason being is, I think with the biometrics we get at things that we can't through the traditional focus groups that we're usually doing with ad testing. It really helps us focus in on particular areas of, let's say, one of our 30-second ads that are working or not working and engaging or not engaging. And then we use the focus groups after that to really understand why, number one, why, and also to test out different ideas. So we've had some ads that within maybe 15 or 20 seconds of the 30-minute ad, we've identified maybe 8 areas that we could make improvements on, and they're subtle. They're, you know, subtle kinds of things that I don't think we could have gotten from focus groups because, as you said, people can't usually articulate those kinds of things. And so we've been able to use the biometrics then to go in and make subtle changes and dramatically change the amount of engagement that we're getting from people as they're viewing our ads. So I see it definitely as a complement.
Sebastien, how do you think about the insights you get from biometrics relative to the kinds of traditional measures you've been and continue to use?
Yes, I would say that it's probably complementary in the way we can address some of the long-lasting issues we have with advertising. So, for instance, we know that 4 out of 5 ads are lacking of branding. And something we have been able to address using the emotional response versus the branding is the brand really at the top of your emotional peak. And we know that it's probably the best moment to introduce the brand, whether it's the brand itself or the product or some distinctive assets we can generate, like green M&Ms, for instance. But that's really how it's complementary, because it was, here again, the missing piece. So we are not changing the end game. We need to have advertising that people remember, they associate to the right brand, and that delivers a relevant message. It's more about the how we can optimize our chance to do that.
Great. And Stacey, you tell us a little bit. I know we've certainly done projects where we haven't asked anyone any questions, but yet obviously you continue to do work with traditional measures. Talk about the differences between the two and how you think about it from your position.
Well, I think it's interesting because I was trying to sit here thinking of whether or not it's really complementary or is it additive. Now, I think complementary sometimes implies that it's a nice to have but not a necessary to have. And I'm wondering if, as the neuromarketing industry becomes more mature, that it doesn't become something that is more necessary in the toolkit. And the reason why I say that is, we've just done some new research with you around Adult Swim, one of our television brands, and we've used the traditional metrics. We used the Nielsen's, we've used the TiVos, we've used the minute by minute, the second by second data, and you can see a lot of what's going on in looking at those patterns of data. But they don't necessarily help you get at, well, okay, why? Why is that happening in your situation versus, some other programming environment? And I really think that as we are getting more pressure in the industry to deliver on investment, we all say ROI, return on investment. I would say a lot of us are working in a more of return on impact basis, because what we're trying to say is we're not just offering you an opportunity to see anymore, we're offering you an opportunity to engage, to experience, to get deeper into a brand experience, both with us and our brand environment, and thereby through our environment with you and your brand and your product or service. And it's very hard to do that with just understanding whether people are there or not there. And so I think the kinds of information that we get from an Innerscope helps us to understand a little bit more of what's happening when you are there. That then gives us more validation for why our environments are or aren't more optimal for certain situations and brands.
So as Turner is asked to do more for their clients, you have to sort of go beyond what you've typically been doing and look to new methodologies and new technologies to really deliver on that promise.
Yeah, it's not just, you know, the media companies. The agencies are asked to do more as well, to prove more that, you know, the way that they're planning media and their for their clients is more effective. Everyone's under the same amount of pressure from people in procurement, and my apologies to those in procurement in the room if you're here, but we're all being pressured with, you know, how do we, at the end of the day, say, you know, the way you spent your money was effective with us and impactful for what your measurement goals are.
Great. Libby, does that, what you've heard so far, does that resonate with your experience and so far? And tell us a little bit about how you think about the way that, you know, biometrics really interacts with traditional measures and how this project in particular has worked for you.
Well, I think it's definitely additive. We saw discrepancies between traditional market research and the biometric market research results. So I think it's additive. This was an experiment for our organization. I believe that we will do our best to rigorously measure the results wherever possible of this research, and if they turn out favorably, I believe that we'll embrace it as an organization, but again, it will be probably in addition to traditional market research. And I think one thing to just tie off of what Stacey said was we provide a lot of market research for our customers, and I believe that this would be a service for them that nobody else has to offer in our industry. So we see it as a differentiator for ourselves in terms of really separating ourselves from the rest of our competitors.
Great. And do you want to comment on what we're doing today? Yeah.
Sure. Actually, this is a pretty exciting day for us. We just today launched our new Lycra ready-to-wear brand, Lycra Style. And we are in a perfect location to demonstrate that. We have a 30-second spot that's on the Jumbotron screen in Times Square that runs every 15 minutes, so peek outside and take a look. We also have in the back of the cabs on the video screens, we're running our 30-second spot there. We are in trade publications, and we have some online trade initiatives as well. So this is the week that it's happening for us, and we are already getting a lot of really interesting response from the press. We've had really good pickup so far. We incorporated into our press release a video clip of the work we did with Innerscope, because we really thought that was newsworthy in itself. So we're very excited about not just the results, but the way we merchandise them back into the marketplace.
Great. So you've had a busy day.